Disclaimer: the views expressed on this episode of Perspective Platoon with Prateek are solely the opinions of the host and the guest. The content of the conversation is not reflective of the institutions or establishments mentioned therein. Take all these opinions with a pinch of salt and a dash of lime if needed. Hey, bro, welcome back. How's it going?
Hello, Prateek. Really glad to be back here.
Awesome. Let's just get the show on the road. Starting off with you mentioning the fact of your interest in acting and you now creating reels and sort of expressing your creativity in that way. To start things off, what led you to want to also pursue that on the side while still working? I mean, acting
Mhm.
specifically. We can probably get into the reels a little later, but starting off with acting in general.
To begin with, I never initially thought that I would start acting or be an actor in the first place. Like when I was a kid, my parents essentially just put me away from movies. Like I wasn't allowed to watch much movies. Like the only thing which I had at my disposal were cartoons. And then, like after I just came to the US, almost all my roommates were like movie buffs, like everyone. So I haven't watched most of the I mean, not superheroes, like the major mega stars or like the major heroes movies, like in Tamil or Telugu. I haven't watched any of them. So once I kind of associated with my roommates, then I realized that I've missed a lot. And to be honest, I've been acting my whole life. Like it was just not explicitly stated that, oh yeah, this is what I was acting, but I was not a great student when I was in school. Like I used to make up excuses to just escape things, and then I've also done a couple of other things where, like, so it's just a small instance where I know. I mean, this is not. It's kind of like infamous. Is an infamous situation, but that's when I thought that maybe I can be an actor. So we had this geography teacher in my school, and she was from Malaysia, and then she had a different way of pronouncing things. Like I'm sorry,
That's okay.
she used to say Malaysia, like in a way, because she had an accent, and in that way, so I have a very expressive face. So whenever I see someone, like when I just look at someone, they can see me and then they can see me laugh. So I cannot control my laughter and I just smile. So when she was saying that specific thing again, like she was saying Malaysia, so I couldn't cry. I couldn't stop and just lost myself and just started laughing. And then she was pretty much pissed. And then she said, just because of my reputation in the school as being a bad kid, uh, she said that she would give me a TC, which means a transfer certificate for most of the other audience who are watching it, which means that I'll be expelled from the school. So I didn't know what else to do. But I definitely had the references of this TV serials like my mom watches. And I remember in one of those TV serials, you have the main lead kind of commit a suicide, like not commit a suicide, but stage something like a suicide. So then my brain, I was in, I think in the sixth grade or eighth grade, I don't know why, but yeah, I think in the eighth grade. So I wrote a letter, like in a way, in my college diary, in a way that the person who sits next to me, the moment she comes, the diary falls and then she opens it and reads it. And then I was hiding behind a space. I mean, we have a door, the classroom door, and it has a space. I was hiding there, just waiting for the next teacher to come. So there was this broom, like this broom. I just spat in my hand, just took some dust, put it on my forehead, just put my nose like this. So just blushed my mouth and my face in a way that it all looks red. And the moment the teacher walked in, I just pretended to collapse, saying that I just strangled myself or like I just suffocated myself. The whole school, I shit you not, I'm sorry. I mean this
It's
is
okay. You can
yeah,
curse, no
I shit
problem.
you not. The whole school till date, they remember me as Ashwin, the guy who committed suicide. Like he I mean, that day my dad still now, I don't think he knows what happened. It's just my sister and my mother who know it. But till
Mm.
date, that thing has remained a part of my identity. Whenever people talk to me about that, like they think I really did that, but I didn't. I was just using
Right.
that as an alibi to just escape.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that day I thought maybe I can act. Then later on, I just started. I just came to US. Everything was going fine, but I don't know. One day I just decided to. I just saw this casting call somewhere for this Hollywood movie, and I thought maybe I can give. I don't know. I was like, it's fine. It's just like you're just throwing a stone. I said fine, and then I got a casting call, and then I just went to the auditions, and then I just got selected, and that was my first Hollywood. I mean, not even a short film, not even a YouTube video. That was my first ever Hollywood film, which I've acted, like been on set, seen a major star. I didn't even know who the hell he was. Like he's Cat Williams. Actually, he's a comedian. Like he was a famous comedian somewhere. But I was like, I don't know who he is. So I was just me. I didn't know that he was a big star, and I was just doing it with. Anyways, the thing, my footage was not there in the actual reel of the movie, like when it was cut. But I definitely had the experience, and since then I never stopped. So I just went ahead, created more reels, and that kind of and then some of them really went viral, like just crossing a lot of views. And then most of the other pages, South Asian pages, kind of featured me on their pages. And in that way I kind of created a really great network where we see each other's talents and then we promote each other. And I think in that way it was good for me. Like it's like whenever I go to Dallas, I mean, I shouldn't, I mean, it's okay, like I have worked hard, so I can say it. So whenever I go to Dallas or any place with a lot of Indian people, especially like Telugu people, I get noticed. Like people come to me, say that, "Hey, we know you. You're the curry boy." I said, I feel, yeah, that's me. I feel like the mini, like nano Shah Rukh Khan thing, and I feel that is the most happiest feeling I ever had.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, that story of acting in school
Yeah.
to where you are now. I mean, it's quite fascinating because sometimes I also wonder if like how some seeds were planted like early in our childhood that we probably
Hmm.
don't think about.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but yeah, it's kind of like you started off there, but then you sort of had this period of a lull where you didn't do much in terms of acting, and then here you are acting again. So it's funny how things happen.
Yeah, I mean,
And you said that you,
mhm.
yeah, go
No,
ahead.
sorry, sorry. I mean, that's something which is that, I mean, even I get surprised with how things change. Like I think it's kind of like a game, Pratik. Like if you see it up close and under a microscope, you see life as a game. Like as you go forward in life, like in games, like with different levels, there are certain skills you automatically get, like like an upgrade. And then so you level up in the game, so you level up in life. So I've been just seeing that way, like because I would say I didn't have all these ideas which I get now, like much like an year ago or like 2 years ago. I was just doing my thing. I was just going to work, coming back, chilling with friends. So I think whatever it is, it just comes to you. Like if it's for you, it will definitely come to you, is what I feel.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, it's that saying by Rumi, right? Like, what you seek is seeking you, or something
Mhm.
along those lines. Yeah, yeah. Sort of transitioning into the real section, since you've mentioned that. Um, what was the goal or the intention for you behind creating reels? Was it much? Was it was it something that you started like you thought a lot about and then started, or was it something that you just started on like the flip of a moment?
So to be very honest, the purpose, I mean, I've been making videos starting 2016, to be honest. Like I mean, not like reels with context where I was just conveying a story or a solid point, but it was just random videos because that time I was making videos to impress someone who said no to me. I mean, I don't know, it sounds really petty, but I was having fun, like saying that I'm better than the other person, I guess. Like, so there were situations where people usually didn't give much, not respect, but I wasn't taken seriously for a long time. like the person, like I'm always, I used to be always that person who is always at the back, at the background, like people just don't know who I am or like what I can do and stuff. So that's when I started making like minor, like just small videos wherein I started using this just a green cloth and started learning just to see like, okay, what I can do, like magic, like for example make a reverse video where I throw something, it just comes to my hand. And so I've been doing that, and then just made small editings of my friends. Like for example, if my friend comes to me and says, hey dude, I really like Katrina Kaif, can you just edit my picture with her? I said, cool, I can do that. So I do that. And the first picture I did of myself was with Tony Stark, like Iron Man. And so once I started doing it, I still didn't know, I mean, why I did it, but at one point I felt, no, I think I'm just putting in too much effort to impress people who's not even following me or looking me up, because she's not using Facebook that time. And then I stopped for a while, and then later on I just made this one video. I think it was last year in February. I think it was, we had the snowstorm, because I think if you are in Oklahoma, I think you definitely know about the snowstorm. So me and my friend were just chilling, and then I thought there's this very famous movie, in a Telugu movie, wherein this actor kind of mimics people as in the way they take pictures, like couples whenever there's snow, like Indian couples
Hmm.
be a little more cheesy, right? And then the little more articulate whenever they are like, oh, take my picture in this angle where I'm looking towards the sun, or maybe I'm just giving this particular expression. And I thought I will just make that video. I just said, I just went down. I asked my friend to just hold the phone. He recorded it, and that's it. I just uploaded it. But for some reason, someone else saw that, shared it, and it got shared to multiple pages. I think got shared to almost every Telugu page. And till date, every person who knows or follows me on Instagram or any other social media page, they identify me based on that video. No matter, to be honest, that video had only 4,000 views, but the impact it had on people was massive. Like people still remember me, just remember my quote. They were like, oh, you are the guy in the red coat. I said, yes, that's me. And so I thought, why not just make this? Because I think everyone needs a little validation in life, Pratik. Like, I mean, see, there are many people says that, okay, no one has to validate you, but as an Indian boy with issues of being introverted, or like having a lot of uh, I think you get the point. Like in India, like our households don't teach us in a way that, oh yeah, you can do whatever you want. There are always conditions for that. So I needed that social validation from people, especially strangers, saying that yes, we really like you, we approve what you make. So if you make more, we are definitely more than inclined to watch you make it. So
Right.
since then I started making them. And for
Hmm.
that reason, what happened is, just because I'm a known face to most of the Telugu audience in the US, many of those directors from Dallas, and then I also worked in a web series. So they kind of reached out to me saying that, hey, we really like your work. If you want to join us, so I joined them. And I think it was just going that way. But sometimes I get lost in that fact, like there's been days where you would be like, you'll be getting like a lot of attention, you'll be like seeking more, like, okay, I'll make this just for attention. And that is not a healthy way of making content, because once you do that, the quality of your content decreases. Like you won't be giving what people want, you will just be doing it just for the sake of doing it, so that you can get noticed by people. And I think I learned a lot about that in the past one and a half year, which I've been starting doing it. And at this point, I'm just making it just because I want to tell a story. I know, from as a matter of fact, I know that I make content used, I mean, I just use a lot of VFX and also scripting, and there's also like story. So I think in that case, my content is unique, and that's my niche, which I say that, yeah, this is my niche because no one else is also making it. And it's not like, it's not coming from a place of arrogance, it's just coming from a place of a fact. Like that's what I've seen. So that's the main motive behind why I make videos. And I think it's also called like a personal brand, wherein I don't have to introduce myself to people, they just look at my profile and say, yes, this person can act, so we can take him to a project and then they can see me in this role. So that's the main agenda for creating reels.
Right. It sort of builds a portfolio, so to speak, for
It's a
you to where.
resume, yes.
Right. Yeah, totally, totally. I see where you're coming from with that. Um, if you're willing to share some details, like what is your process of brainstorming a video to putting it out there, like, and how much time does it take for you to work on a singular 1 minute video?
Mhm. So that's a very interesting question. So the first thing what almost every content creator should be doing is prepare a chart. So I have a chart. That chart is essentially what makes things go viral. So to get more, to add more perspective into it, for example, I say humor. Like in humor, you also have categories like relatable stuff, like things you do, and then things your parents do. Then again, things which are weird, like for example, if you eat Maggie with what do you call, chocolate syrup, that is weird. People would like to watch it. Or cheating videos where someone else catches someone else cheating. So I think there are total 136 categories of videos which can go viral. I mean, which will go viral because almost everything ties up to psychology, like what people perceive as interesting. So what I do is I observe a lot. So that's the first thing which I do is observe. And then I just see. So based on my observation, I realize that no matter if you're rich, poor, educated, uneducated, almost each and every human being has the same relatable stuff. Like you will have, for example, in each other's life, I think we'll definitely have up to like 60% of relatable stuff because everyone goes through the same cycle. They go through school, they go through this, they go through hardships, they go through heartbreaks, and that is the main thing which we can cash upon. Like, heartbreaks. For example, if I make a relationship video saying that, okay, like one of the videos which I made was a girl and a boy in a conversation in a car. Like, for example, men, as men, we drive without talking. Like we don't talk much, we just drive. And then in most cases we don't think much. Like, it's not like we have something running. We can just drive 8 hours straight without even thinking anything. Like a brain is completely empty. But women, on the other hand, they're not that way. Even though they are silent, they'll be thinking a million other things. So in one of those videos, what I did was the same thing which happens in couples. Like, the guy is driving, the girl will be like, "Hey, what are you thinking?" He will be like, "I'm not thinking anything." The girl gets pissed. You're like, "Then tell me what you're thinking, then even I can think with you." He said, "No, this is what it is." And then they have an accident. And so I made that accident a funny way. So
Hmm.
so that was relatable to almost all my couples, like all my couple friends, because they started commenting on the video saying that, "Hey, this is an insider secret, how did you know?" So I said, "Yeah, it's not that I'm away from people, I can observe." And that goes into making videos. And there are other days also, like, it's not like you get an idea once. There's certain situations where you just get it, like, okay, it just comes to you. You'll be like, okay, this fine, I'll make this. But it's kind of like a stone, like you just have to keep sharpening it, and then at the end of the day, when it's gone there, and I mean when I upload it, that's when I know that, okay, this is completely done. Like this, if I give this much reaction time for my audience to read the caption and then read what's going on and then understand what the character is, and then at the end I deliver the punchline, that's when videos go viral. So I've had the experience of making 2-minute videos which are long, where I just put in a lot of VFX, and also like 22-second videos which I've definitely done much better. And I think it's a game, like, but at the end of the day, I just want to say that I also did this, by the way, just so that I could get my stuff more faster. I used to make much shorter videos having no context, like not much context. It's just a funny video. So later on, I started thinking about it and debating about it. And at the end of the day, I thought, no, my audience watch me so that they are expecting that type of content. Like they're expecting to see me in a humorous way, like the point where I'm making them laugh. So it's just an experimental part where you just try different things, and then whatever you think the audience likes it, you just do it.
Right. And yeah, like you said, in terms of just creating your own sort of set of content pieces, you get to add your own sort of understandings and subtleties based off of the things that you observe.
Hmm.
So you've sort of already touched on this, but I think it's really interesting that you brought it up. Is the level of observation. How important do you think it is for you that you're able to observe some things that usually we might not pay attention to on a day-to-day basis?
Mm.
And how does that fuel a lot of your brainstorming process, so to speak?
So to answer that question, observation as in like it doesn't have to be deep. Like I think in the initial days when you're actually looking for content, like when you're actually searching for content, that's when you need to have a lot of brainstorming and homework, which means that you're not completely ready and you're still a work in progress. And to be honest, everything is a work in progress. But what I would say is, it's just the basic things you have to observe. It's not like deep things. Like just you just go to a restaurant, right? You just observe the waiters, like what they do. Like I mean, they work there like since morning, like giving in like 10 hour or 9 hour shifts. But at the end of the day, even though they are tired, they just come to your table and they just have to show up to you with a smile. So in that case, what I think was, what goes in my mind is, oh right, I can make a video about what these people think about me when they are in the kitchen. Like for example, if I ask saying that, hey, I need the peanuts a little more roasted, if you can give me this dish in a different way. So what do they do? And then there are other things like flies. What if flies are in a restaurant and they have a conversation about the type of people they see? I can do, I mean I can just use two different voices. So it's just a matter of observing what's going on around you. And then once you I think, to be honest, Prateek, in the initial days when you start making content, that's when you need a lot of push. Like because you'll be like, I think there's always this part of self doubt in your head that, oh, I might not be good enough, or maybe the people wouldn't be liking it. I think that type of self doubt shouldn't be there, because as you do it, because creativity is a muscle which needs to be worked out every single day. It's not like you just did it once and then you don't do it and then later on you do it. No, it's not like that. It's a continuous process, and as you keep doing it, the amount of stress while creating content is nothing. Like you just love the process. Because I think there was one video which I made, which also made it to subtle curry traits. Like for audience, subtle curry traits is a Facebook page, and it's for South Asians. And I think it's not one of the, it is the largest subscribed page by South Asians, like both in India and the United States. I think it's got like 2 million subscribers. So I made this video about how people react. I mean, we had this whole COVID lockdown, right? And then suddenly the borders to India were open. So I made a video. Like I think you might have seen this Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum movie, Pratik. So Kabhi Khushi Kabhi
Yeah,
Gum is
yeah,
an
yeah.
Indian movie, and
I've seen the reel that you're talking about. Yeah.
yes, yes. So I just created a really reel out of it, and I think that took me a lot of time. It took me, I think, for editing and all. I think it took me like 5 hours, because I had to just overlay and just make it. And I just didn't want it to just put something there. I was like, "Koi baat nahi, it's okay. Like audience will just watch it." No, I just wanted it to be in a way which is very convincing that I was in the place. Like I am Shah Rukh Khan. So, and I now these days I just make it very fast. Like that time it took me 5 hours. Now it just takes me like maybe 30-35 minutes. I get an idea. I just sit down, take my phone, my phone. I mean, I just invest in getting a better phone every time. So I get a new phone every year, and I just take my phone and just record it. And then I record a couple of videos on the weekends or whenever I get an idea. And then one of those days at work in the lunchtime or something, I sit down and then start editing them. So in that way, I think it's a flow. So basically, startups have this chart. I think you can also see it in beer biceps. I think Ranveer was
Mhm.
talking about this a couple of days. I think you know Tanmay Bhatt, right? Tanmay Bhatt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So there was this interview on beer biceps where he was interviewing Tanmay, and Tanmay was giving really good insight about the creativity flow, like the flow and the balance. Like whenever you think that things are going smooth and fast, that's when you have a flow. And then when you think that your creativity level is low, but your the thing you want to deliver is high, that's when you get stressed out. So once you have that balance, the content just follows. And then is you just have to observe, like talk to people, and you'll understand a lot from them, like from different cultures. And that's one reason why in most of the videos, when you see, like I have like a lot of friends from different diverse backgrounds, like I use Americans, and then people from Nigeria, and then you also have Indians, and even in Indians I have different people from different cultures. I just use them so that I could just express their way of seeing this situation through my eyes, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. That
Yeah.
does make sense because that also adds that level of variability in the content, I
Hmm.
suppose, to where
Yes.
you add those different levels of perspectives and so on.
Hmm.
You mentioned another very interesting point in terms of self doubt, because and Ranveer's talked about this too. Excuse
Hmm.
me, of those phases where you tend to have self doubt a lot of the times about the things that you're doing. Um, how have you battled with those thoughts, and how have you sort of found your way out of thoughts of self doubt about whether or not the reel you put out is going to work and so on?
So I think I've been so Pratik. To start with, I've been always been ridiculed, like my closest friends, or you can also say family a while ago. Like now they're all good, but a while ago when I was starting things, like trying to be different from the herd, like no one actually just gets up a day and just says that I want to wear a Spider-Man costume and just go up across the campus and just walk around there. And my roommates then essentially were like, Ashwin, don't make yourself a joke, don't do this. And I started getting a lot of those kind of negative reports from people I care about. And then I kind of made it a habit not to look validation from elsewhere, like from people I know. I was like, just leave it, just leave people, don't ask them anything. So to be honest, I don't send, like my parents insist now these days. Now my parents insist that I send them everything I make, but I don't. I just say, so I started making this habit, saying that, for example, if I'm making a content, you know a content creator is successful is when someone else shares my content to my friends, saying that, hey, this is funny. Because that is exactly what happened. Like one of my roommates was in India, and then they had this conversation. One of his other friends, he didn't know that he was my roommate. He just comes to him and says, hey, this guy is in the US, he makes his content and it's really funny. So that's when people realize that you shouldn't be even if you cannot encourage someone, don't discourage them. Like, don't just say that just because you're not doing it, don't stop other people from doing it. And I think self-doubt, I battle self-doubt that way. I was like, I don't even ask them. I'll say, maybe I might sound narcissistic, but I'll say, I'm Ashwin. Okay, I'm Ashwin. I don't have to ask my friends an opinion about this, saying that this is the content I made, is it good, bad, or ugly. Because content at the end of the day is a question of judgment. What I like, you might not like it. What we both like, someone else might not like it. So I just say, I'm a store, right? I'm an outlet mall. So I have shirts, I have underwears, I have pants, I have everything. People who come to my store, they take what they want and they leave. They don't take what they don't like. Simple. It's not like you come to a store and if you don't like pants, you don't burn them, right? It's the same logic. So I don't ask them anything. So I just, and since then, I think my friends have also realized that, yeah, we kind of underplayed this guy a while ago. But so they kind of tell me about it, saying that, hey, one of my friends sent me this, saying that he wants to talk to you. And then I talk to them. I feel happy. They feel happy. So to battle self doubt is to stop thinking about what others hold, like others opinion hold for you? I would just say I don't care, like not even a little bit, saying that not even. So I don't even ask them like, do you think this is good? I said no, bhai, this is my content. If people want to see me, they will see me. If they're not, if they don't want to see me, they won't. Simple. And it's free, so it's all good. It's only until and unless Instagram decides to start charging for posts, that's when you have to top up and do other stuff. So that's my take on validation and also self doubt.
Hmm. I totally understand because I see like a lot of those external sort of influences being some of the reasons for your self doubt because you also sort of, like you said, wonder about how many people might watch it and all that sort of stuff. And that can really be jarring in some sense and can even stop people from doing what they want to do.
Hmm.
Like a lot of the times, like, I mean, people might want to do certain things, but then because they're worried of what other people might think, they
Hmm.
just stop themselves from doing it, which in its own way can be a little problematic because I do believe that we as people need a creative outlet
Hmm.
to sort of express ourselves, and it doesn't need to be in the public. Like, if you
Hmm.
prefer to paint, do that. If you prefer to act on camera, do that. I think we all need that creative outlet um, as people. And with that being said, I'm curious to know, like, having this creative outlet, how has it helped you from a perspective of like your personal mental well-being, so to speak?
Hmm.
Because I like the reason I ask that is because I do feel like through creatively like putting things out, you do have the ability to sort of express certain emotions, um, which make you feel a little lighter,
Hmm.
generally speaking. So how has that helped you, or has it helped you in any way?
So the first thing which kind of helped me by this, so I always had this thing in school that I was not recognized. I was always in the background and that kind of thing. And I always wanted to be in the limelight, like at least have a couple of people know that there used to be this guy who makes these videos. So I think most of my pursuits in the film industry or like uh, in making reels or videos is the main motive for that is to be remembered, like because I see I think it's quite evident, Pratik, because out in the world, if you see, only the rich, like rich businessmen, politicians and movie stars are the most people who are remembered, like no matter what they have done, have they done good or the bad, no, they're just remembered for that, like even in history, like Google, that's what it does, like that's what actors like from generations are remembered. And I felt that I just kind of sat down and just looked at it, like saying that, okay, what skills do I have? Can I be a politician? No, I can't. I can't argue with my vegetable vendor, so I cannot do that. I'm really bad at it. I was like, okay, I want to pick acting. Why? Because acting is a way where you can convey emotions without hurting people's sentiments. For example, just because my page is a comedy page, people would expect only comedy. So it's not like people are going to expect a serious conversation from me on my page. So even though I make a political joke, I can get by it. However, for example, I made this video about Bajrang Dal. So Bajrang Dal is an organization in India which kind of beats up and mauls people who marry on Valentine's Day. Like who, I mean, not marry. They just kind of, for people, for couples who kind of time. Sorry, it's just late in the night, so I was like just disoriented. So basically, this Bajrang Dal group, what it does is it beats up people on Valentine's Day when they see them together. So I made this video about them, showing what they do and also displaying things saying that this shouldn't be allowed. So I definitely got a couple of emails and messages from people. Some people saying that, oh, this is funny. Some people saying, I saw what you did. It is good. And there are some BJP supporters, like a political party in India, who were saying that, hey, no, it was for the reason. So I was like, no man. So I could always get away with saying that it's just a funny comedy clip. Like, share, subscribe, but nothing else. So in that case, it helped me that way. And the other one is, it is giving me a sense of purpose, purpose, Pratik. Like, something to look forward to. Like, uh, after you get a job. So I'll tell you what, life, based on what I have seen, goes by milestones. Like, I think it's not like a personal milestone, but it's like a milestone imposed by the society or up to you, right? For example, you go to school, you graduate high school, then college, and then masters, and then you get a job, then your visa, you get married, and then have a kid, and then the same cycle continues for the kid, and then you die. So once you get a job, and then the chase for money begins, there is nothing else to look forward to, because when you were in school, you were looking forward to college, then to masters, and then once you complete the highest amount of degrees you can get, that's when life becomes monotonous. Like, there's nothing much you want to expect. Like, you marry, yes, I mean, you date and marry, there's nothing, it's not magical like movies show. Like, it's not going to change. It's not going to completely transform into a butterfly park or something. It's just going to be basic. I would say this thing, like, uh, making videos or doing something like this, it gives me an outlet saying that, okay, I can look forward to something. Like, I can strive. I mean, my dream is to just show my family on the big screen, like saying that, hey, that's your son in this movie hall, completely booked movie hall on the screen. That's my dream. So I was like, this dream is making me look forward to something, and that kind of helps me a lot, like, to cope up with stress, or like anything else happens, I just come home, relax a bit, just take my camera, make a video, just upload it, people love it, I get my dopamine surge. That's kind of like drugs. So technically speaking, so I'm on non-harmful drug. So that is one way I can put it, and it completely helps you a lot with stress. Lot of stress usually.
Yeah, yeah, no, totally. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying because even in like within a personal setting, like if you're journaling
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, like you need those things to be able to let go of certain emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So to find creativity in this sense, to be able to let go of some of those emotions, it's definitely very helpful. And hey, if you have a few more people that join you along the ride,
Mm-hmm.
that's even better, right?
Yeah.
And another interesting thing that you mentioned also is that sense of looking forward to what's to come.
Mhm.
100%, you would want to look forward to something rather than wake up in the morning and rue the fact that you have to go to work. You
Mhm.
know, like
Mhm.
waking up in the morning, you go to work at 9 a.m. itself, you're like, oh, I'm ready to go home. I mean, I'm not dissing anybody or sort of taking a shot at anybody,
Mhm.
but it's unfortunately the world we live in to where, we are ready to go back home the moment we just start the day.
Mhm.
So, being able to look forward to something at least. From a creative sense is great, and kudos to you for that, brother.
And
One final
I'm sorry.
question.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
please
sorry.
go
Just
ahead.
to add to it, and I think
Go ahead.
these days it's just easy. Is it's also easier for people to voice out what they feel. It's because earlier, like, the point of getting into movies is like you have to only be in Mumbai, or in for example, if you are in the South India, you have to be in Madras, and then only if people see you on the big screen is when they recognize you. And that has completely changed, like with YouTubers like Bhuvan Bam, Tanmay Bhatt, AIB, and those people have been so much inspirational. Like, to be honest, people know Instagrammers much better than people they have seen on screen. And that's exactly why, like, major movies like RRR, or like Rajamouli's films, or like major Indian films, they come over Instagrammers and YouTubers channels, and they have a live recording with them, just because, so that they can promote themselves, because Instagrammers and YouTubers have the most amount of content and people with them. So I say that the power of creating and voicing out what you want other people to know is in your hands. And once you use it, it all takes just one click. Just create a video, just upload it, and just see how it feels. I think that's exactly how you started relatability as well, right? It just didn't come out because you did think about this a lot even before you started this, right?
Yeah. 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 I took a lot of time to think about it and then start doing it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, like I think another sort of pointer before we go into the last question,
Mm-hmm.
I do believe it's that we feel like we need to be ready to do some of these things, but unfortunately, we're never going to be ready. Like you have to sort of take the plunge, and sink or swim.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things that you sort of have to tell yourself when you're trying to start something like this. And it's for any sort of thing, like even if it's for um, a certain habit that you're wanting to build or whatever. Like you're never going to have the skill set before you try. You have to
Mm-hmm.
try to build the skill set in some sense. So totally, I understand where you're coming from in that sense. But yeah, one parting question
Mm-hmm.
before we're done for the night. You mentioned the fact that you do want to be remembered. So I'd just like to ask you how you'd like to be remembered.
So I like to be remembered as a person of value rather than a person of success. Like to expand on that. Uh, so a successful person is basically some, like in the media industry, someone uh, who's got a lot of money or connections in industry, or someone who has definitely collected a lot of box office collections. But what I want to do is, even though I make stuff on a smaller scale, I want, for example, if someone is having a bad day, they look at my videos, they feel good about it, and that I feel is value, that I have definitely added value to their life. It's like I'm a service provider, and that's my service to them. And in addition to that, I just want to also, like, I also created another video with this page called Melody Mocktail. It's also one of the pages for career selections and stuff. So I also created like a resume video, like in a very different way, like including humor as well as telling a story like about a resume, and it really worked well. So I just want to also, I just want to create value in that way, like do something which makes people happy and do something which also benefits people in ways they have never seen it before. And I feel that, if you make something in that way, like, as you just keep making videos, there'll be that one video will make it big. Like it'll just create a huge sensation, and that will be remembered forever. Like that song Collabority, I think you might heard. I mean,
Yeah,
did you hear
yeah,
that?
I
So
have,
the
yeah.
Collabority song, I think it was released in 2013 or 2012, to be honest. And even
Right.
today, I still remember that song just created a huge ripple effect uh, about Anirudh Ravichandran or anything else, about Dhanush or anything else. So I just want to be remembered in that way, saying that yes, there used to be this guy who made videos, and then this content is also applicable even today, and that's humor. So that's what I want to be remembered for.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's a great note to close off on. Thank you so much, brother, once again for coming on and for sharing your thoughts and perspectives on a lot of these things. I mean, I really appreciate it, and I'm sure that there's a lot of things that people who are listening and watching can also take from this
Mhm.
in terms of the ability to combat with self doubt or just starting and putting yourself out there. So, yeah, bro, thank you so much for sharing everything that you did. And for those of you listening and watching, thank you so much. And we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.